Welcome back, everybody. This is Michael Levitas with divorce attorney Alla Kurolapnik. Alla, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you.
Good morning. Alla, you and I talk about different aspects of getting a divorce. And of course, a common concern, common question that people ask and are worried about is the cost of getting a divorce. And sometimes I hear horror stories where people no longer belong together. They already cannot stand to be with each other. However, because of the cost of getting a divorce, which, let's be honest, it could be considerable, people unfortunately stay together and they are suffering. Okay, you are a strong proponent of using mediation, of using mediators in a divorce, and as we have discussed, it's a way to control the cost of getting a divorce. I want to get more into nitty-gritty of that. Can you please explain why mediation could be such a cost-controlling process in a divorce?
Sure. So mediation is it's cost effective because really what you're doing is you're paying one person the same hourly fee that you would otherwise pay to two attorneys to negotiate against each other, because what you're doing is you and your spouse are actually doing the negotiations yourselves with a trained professional who's helping you reach that conclusion. So for instance, and I'm just throwing numbers out. So if my hourly fee as an attorney is $500 an hour and you are hiring me to handle your divorce, you're paying me $500 an hour. Your spouse is paying her attorney $500 an hour, right? And then there's the cost tends to escalate rather quickly when you have to go to court. And the reason is because if the two of you can't reach an agreement, attorneys engage something called motion practice, which is a very costly thing. Because in order to in other words, if you ask me to pay something and I say no, somebody has to make the decision because it just can't go on being a disagreement. And you're really paying your attorneys to put forth that argument in front of a judge who ultimately makes that decision. And if you're not happy with the decision, there's appeal process that are likewise incredibly costly, right? And then you're stuck with a decision that somebody else made on a matter which may be incredibly important to you. So mediation allows you to see.
And then you have to also appeal the decision. Appeal also costs money.
Yes, exactly what I just said. If you're not happy with the decision, assuming you can appeal it, there's the appellate process, which is likewise just as costly. Mediation takes all of that out of the mix because it allows the two partners to make the decisions for themselves. And often what the other thing is you're able to, even when you have mediation review attorneys and consulting attorneys, the cost is likewise a lot cheaper than it would be otherwise if you are engaged in litigation.
I see.
Let's put it that way.
Very good. Excellent. Listen, this is why we do this, so people know about this process, because a lot of people never even heard of mediation, because some of attorneys do not want to disclose to their clients such a process exists because they want to burn their own legal fees. Unfortunately, it's a very unscrupulous practice, but it's out there. So you have to know about it. And now you know there is mediation. Now you know there is an attorney like Alla Kurolapnik, and Alla will have your phone number on the bottom of the screen. We're here to educate the people so they know what's out there. But if you have any specific questions about your situation, you want to talk to an attorney about a divorce, about possibly using mediators in your divorce, even if right now you're engaged you already engaged with other attorneys that are working on your case, but you want to get a second opinion about using mediation, I think that I will be willing to take the call and discuss it with you, right, Alla?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
And another thing I wanted to mention, Michael, while we're on the topic of cost, is cost controlling of experts. Because very often in mediation and in litigation, the attorneys utilize the services of experts for a variety of
Mhm.
reasons. Some have to do with custody, and others have to do with finances. Now, you know, if you're requesting the appointment of an expert, so to speak, in a custody situation, we often utilize, in other words, we often utilize the services of someone called a parent coordinator.
Mhm.
That is a great way for parents to sort of tie break, or when they can't reach an agreement on something, to speak to a parent coordinator that would help them reach an agreement, as opposed to, once again, going in front of a judge and leaving that decision-making process to a complete stranger who knows nothing about your
Right.
family other than what you
Mhm.
allege in motion practice. So
Mhm.
another way of controlling the cost is utilizing someone like that to help you reach the conclusion with respect to the children.
I see.
Then there's also, it's inevitable in any divorce where there are certain assets that need to be evaluated. And what does that mean? What are we
Mhm.
talking about here? In other words, the divorce itself, it's every judge's job in a divorce to divide the marital estate. And how you divide it is subject to the laws of equitable distribution. But in order to divide something, you need to know the value of that asset. In other words, you can't just say, well, I have a ring, divide the ring. What's the value of that
Mhm.
ring? I have a house,
Mhm.
divide the house. What's the value of that house? So
Right.
it's
You need
inherent in,
somebody like an appraiser,
you
and that
need a
costs money.
professional, right? Whether it's a real estate appraiser, whether it's an accountant or a CPA, forensic accountant, whoever it is that you need to put a value on the asset that you're going to be distributing, right?
Sure.
And in litigation, generally, the court appoints those appraisers and forensic accountants, or the experts, so to speak, and the cost is allocated between the parties on a pro rata basis dependent on their incomes.
Mhm.
But what often happens is, if you're not happy with the result of the court appointed expert, you then are left in a position. So what do I do? Do I accept the findings of this expert that I know are faulty, because I know what, let's say, a house is worth, what my house is worth, as opposed to what
Right.
they're reporting? Or do I hire my own expert to
Mhm.
defeat that, to cross-examine at trial? So now you're in a
I see.
position where you've already paid for a court-appointed expert. Now you're in a position where you have to hire your own expert to generate some kind of a report. And then if there's no settlement and you're going to trial, you then have to pay for that expert to come in and to
Wow.
testify.
All I
So,
hear is pay, pay, pay.
right. So it can be very, very costly. One of
Yep.
the great things about mediation is that you work in a collaborative setting with other experts. So, for instance, if there are assets to appraise, I would suggest, look, I have an appraiser that we can use for the process. Of course, the litigants have or the parties have the choice to go seek out someone else, but
Mhm.
I often make those recommendations because we utilize people that can help do that. So again, you're now in a position where it's someone that comes from a trusted source, or it's someone that you choose, you vet out, and you choose this individual, right?
Okay.
And
So
then you're
you
only
have an
paying,
opportunity to see how much they charge before you actually
of course.
hire the individual. Okay.
Of
Very
course,
important.
of course. So
Very good.
it always helps. And if it's somebody that you agree to, as opposed to having somebody appointed on the case by again, a third party, right? A
Right.
judge who says, this is who I'm appointing, that's who it is. You're in a better situation to control the outcome of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the case.
That's why we're here to educate, but also to urge. If you are worried about a cost of a divorce, or you see your own divorce is spiraling out of control in terms of cost, please reach out to Alla Kurolapnik and go over the process one more time and see whether mediation could help you control the cost and alleviate this pain. Because you don't want the only winners to be the attorneys. in this situation. You also want to be a winner. Alla, thank you so much for your time. And we're going to come back to you with more questions. Matter of fact, I have one question in mind right now regarding divorces and confidentiality. In our next session, we're going to talk about how mediation versus regular divorce process affect the confidentiality of the process that is so important for everybody. Alla, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.